All right, it should be okay. So the movie for October 20th is Bloody Axe Wound. Again, this is another one where it's like no expectations going in. Pretty sure I saw it on Hulu, but it's produced I guess through Shudder, and I like Shudder. I like it a lot. I used to be subscribed to them for a while back, but like just years back, like especially when they first started. But yeah, they had tons of good stuff. But just moving away from like subscribing to things, so I kind of dropped them. But on the occasion that I do see like a movie like produced through them, it's usually pretty good, or it's either good or it just kind of captures like the fun of horror, right? And I feel like this one does a good job of that. Um, yeah, so Bloody Axe Wound, interesting concept, and because it's a bit more of like a light coming of age horror comedy, right? Uh, because the concept itself is really funny. To have this kind of notorious serial killer running his own like shop where he sells the tapes to his like killings. It's pretty funny. But then also on top of that, having like the killer getting a bit older, so it's almost like he's retiring in a way. He doesn't want to retire, obviously, because he loves his work, I guess. Um, but his daughter in the movie is like really sort of eager to like take over, right? Very funny, I think. Execution. It's a bit unfortunate. It doesn't really stick it because it's sort of just really good on like every other aspect. I think. Um, I mean, again, just like great starting concept, right? Um, I think all of the sort of light like humor or like that sort of dynamic between the father and daughter is like pretty funny as well. And it's also sort of picking at like horror stereotypes, right? It's like, oh well, especially with this because it's a slasher. It's like, well, you can't have a woman be the slasher just because like stature and stuff like that. They're not as what's the word? I guess like physically intimidating. And you can think whatever you want about that. Me personally, I mean, again, going back to Friday the 13th, right, the original one. You have like just like a slasher who's the woman, like revealed by the end, right? Um, so it can work, no doubt. And I mean, with this, I feel like that would have been a good thing as well. Sort of like, oh, yeah, like I'm gonna prove my dad wrong, sort of thing. And I think it starts off like that initially. And I mean, again, another weird thing too, where it's like the movie ends up moving in like so many different directions. It doesn't really like choose one thing and just go with it. It's like trying to do everything that you can with this concept. Um, so it makes the story like a little muddled. And I guess going back to it, right at the beginning, that does seem like the direction that they're going into. The daughter kind of realizes that her dad's getting gold, but she looks up to him a lot, so she wants to keep this family business going. And of course, the dad says no because she's a girl. Um, and like he's trying to hand it off to just like somebody that they work with, coworker. I mean, simply because he's a guy. Um, I feel almost too if you wanted to make that work a bit better, kind of like the main character, she's rivaling, the other person for like her father's attention. Just make the other character like a brother or something like that. But then I guess it makes it all the more hurtful, right? That the dad would just pass it on to some random who's like not even a part of their family. In the daughter's eyes at least. So I mean, I guess it works, but I feel like making it a bit more personal, like to just the family, would have been a little more interesting. So I don't know, like making the guy like the brother instead, because I mean, regardless, yeah, like the dad tries to like hand off the mantle to somebody else, and that person ends up getting killed. So then the daughter steps in. Again, like really funny as well, right? And then it kind of goes back to like the daughter like trying to prove herself, and I mean, the opportunity shows up, and she steps in, she does it. Um, so that was good, and it does seem like that's the direction that they're going in because I mean, she tells the dad that oh yeah, like oh like I was able to do the killings, and then dad's like all right, well like go and do the rest, because like they have like a list of like people that they go through and kill at a local high school. Uh, and it's like okay, cool. So I mean, the rest of the movie is just going to be her sort of like planning out and trying to get rid of all these randoms, basically. Which you know, uh, initially is what it seems, but then they sort of go into a different direction where I guess what's the word, or like what am I trying to say? I guess she's trying to find the opening, right? Um, Again, it's a bit different from her because she's so new at this. Like she doesn't really know how to like get in close and do these things, or like do these killings at least, because her first attempt was, or I guess like second attempt, right? Because after she like steps in and like kills some of the kids, she has her first real attempt at um, at killing one of the targets, and she messes up pretty much. She gets like caught off guard and like stabbed, but she's able to retreat. So she's trying to look for like a new way to getting close to like all these people so she can kill them. And I mean that kind of leads her to like joining the high school so she can, like be as close as possible to all the kids and stuff. And I mean, again, like another funny thing too, I guess, right? Like having the serial killer, or having the slasher of the movie, again, just like younger, so they're able to kind of like incorporate themselves like into this like group of people, and then slowly pick them off. Again, just like funny concept, right? But then I guess the twist on this is like she ends up, liking like the group of kids that she's supposed to be killing. And I'm like again, just like another thing for like the humor value of it all, right? Um, and she like slowly starts becoming friends with all the kids. I feel like this one's a bit different. I feel like I'm just like breaking down like the actual story for once. I feel like I don't usually do that. I just kind of talk about a few things, but I mean, but I feel like it's gonna all add up by the end of it because there's so many like aspects of the story that I'm like really enjoying, and then by the end of it, it kind of goes awry or like goes off track. But yeah, so I mean, like that's the setup. Like she basically just like becomes friends with like all these kids she's supposed to be killing, and ends up being in a relationship with one of them, like the main girl. Um, and that was nice too. And then it kind of becomes a like a teen drama almost, right? Again, like that's where I said the coming of age aspect is like a bunch of wasps flying there. There's a coming of age aspect to the story, which is nice. And again, just a bit different from what you expect. And then there's some like kills here and there, and the kills are really good. I'll give it that. Again, like the Shutter stuff, I feel like it's like hyper realistic, or they kind of catch like a certain like campiness to like horror movies. And this one definitely leans more on the campy side. I mean, if I'm just gonna talk about kills real quick, it's just like really over exaggerated blood effects, which is funny. Like the first kill, somebody gets like hacked by a machete on the shoulder. That was yeah, so hacked by a machete on the shoulder, and and man, it just like pops out. Very cool looking. I mean, obviously it's like duh, it's fake, but um, again, just fun, right? Um, yeah, so there's some kills here and there that are really cool. And then yeah, just like over exaggerated, like gore almost. There's another kill too, a little earlier on with the main girl's like first kill, where she like hits somebody like in the back of the head with an axe. Um, and like yeah, their like head just like explodes pretty much, and like you get the shot of like the axe going in, and then like the aftermath of it, and like yeah, it's just like caved in head, like jaw ripped open, pretty crazy stuff, but it looks really good. Oh yeah, and then I guess it's another thing too, right? Because the again, just like adding on to like that father daughter dynamic, and like that being a fun concept. Um, the dad's like signature weapon is a machete, and then like he passes like a weapon on to the daughter. He's like, well, like you need your iconic weapon, so he gives her an axe, and or like a fire axe. So that's what she uses, for her kills. Except not really, because she herself only really kills like two people, if I'm remembering correctly. Because like a large part of the story again is just like her becoming friends with the group of people she's supposed to be killing. Um, yeah, so oddly enough, she doesn't really do a lot of killing. Again, just like missed opportunity, right? Because then I feel like that's a different avenue to explore. You can either have similar story to what you're doing here, where um, it's like she's like fighting the urge to kill these people, and like have it to where she's like about to kill them, and it's like, oh, but but I've been getting to know them, blah blah blah, which is there in pieces, but I don't know, it like the like it doesn't feel as strong, or like strongly connected to um to her as a character, it's just like, oh, I probably shouldn't do that. It's never like she's like fighting with herself or there's some kind of like inner turmoil going on. And then I mean, again, you can relate that back to like her trying to make her like dad happy, or like, trying to live up to a legacy, right? But that doesn't really come up either throughout the movie. Like, again, like here and there, but it never feels as strong. Um, because I mean, like by the end of it, like her dad ends up killing most of them anyway. So I don't know. Maybe have something like at the end where like her and the dad have like a confrontation about it. It's like, oh well, daughter, like you're too, you know, you're not like cut out for this, I guess, right? And like have that build up by the end of it. But it never really gets to that, unfortunately. I mean, like her and the dad, they kind of have like a little battle, just because like the dad has like killed two of the other kids, and the daughter's like trying to fight her off, the last one. The other girl that she forms the relationship with. Um, but like that's kind of it. Like there's never anything more to it, in my opinion. But like they try to build it up because there's like a few conversations here and there with the dad's telling her like, oh, don't get too close. You can't, like you can't know them. Like just like kill them and get it over with, right? And the daughter never really brings up the case that like, oh well, like they're nice people. I guess she does one time, but it seems so like passive, right? There's never really like a strong like urge for her to really say like, oh well, like yeah, I've been talking to them, they're not that bad. And I guess that's the other thing too. I guess just like weak motivation from the dad. Like he just, again, I mean, for him, like just because he is a slasher, you don't really need a motivation, right? Like a slasher can just go around killing people for whatever. But I think with her, since she is, different from the dad, like not necessarily a slasher, just living with him, right? Because I mean, I guess the other like added on to it too is she's like adopted. So again, maybe have it to where like, oh, like slasher just like runs in the bloodline, but she's not in the bloodline, so that's why she's like having mixed emotions about actually killing people. Um, but yeah, that doesn't really come up either. I mean, except for the aforementioned like adoption thing, but they never really dig into it. Is my point. Um, because I was thinking something else too. Because like if you took away the adoption thing and just made it to where like maybe like being a slasher is like in the blood, right? Uh, and then I mean again, it'd make it more interesting for her to have this like inner conflict where it's like, man, like my body's telling me that I gotta kill these people, but like getting to know them, I actually like them a lot, something like that. Or I mean, even then, just like living up to the legacy thing, right? Because I mean, it's a bit separated because of the adoption aspect of the story. She's not like blood related to the dad, but she's still trying to please him. Um, again, just like scrap the adoption thing, just make it straight up to where she's just like blood related to him, and like she really cares about the legacy of the family, right? I don't know. I mean, again, just like a little conflicted, but like at the end, like you can just do separate things, right? It's either like go more towards this like father daughter story thing and deal with that, or I mean, a couple twists, right? Because everybody's kind of aware that all these killings happen, and by the end of it, the main group is aware that the killer is after them specifically. So I was thinking two things. It's either you have the group know that she was the killer all along, or at least like related to the killer somehow, because that point kind of comes up as well, but it like they don't linger on it. The fact that she knows a lot of like lore about the killer. Um, so maybe make it to where the group knew she was somehow affiliated with the killer, and they kind of turn on her, and she has to kind of kill them out of like self defense. I don't know. That's what I was thinking. A bit weird, but you can make it work, right? Um, or make it like not necessarily self defense, but she ends up killing them because like the group by the end of it like doesn't accept her, or like we're always like skeptical of her. Um, or the other thing, have it to where she like has to fight off the dad alongside the group, because one person gets killed off screen, so that's already kind of like I don't know, a bit whack, honestly. I feel like if you really wanted to like increase like the horror aspect of it, them being like chased down, have all the kills happen on screen and like show us that the dad like came here to kill them. Um, yeah, but the fact that it happens off screen is like a little, I don't know, a little weak, I think. And then the other kill, uh, it's like an accidental killing. The smart girl of the group kind of figures out that the main girl is like tied to the killer in some way, so she's about to kill her with the axe. But then the love interest shoots her in the stomach with the harpoon, which great effect by the way. It looks really cool, but also exaggerated at the same time because like so much blood pops out. But still, just like cool visual fun. Um, oh yeah, but I mean again, right? You have that aspect where they kind of twig on that. Oh, she knows something and she's not telling us. So I mean, either have it to where like they turn on her, or something, or like maybe she admits that yeah, like the killer's actually my dad, and then have the group turn on her, something. But I mean, again, nothing happens. Um, Main girl and the love interest end up running away, and they get stopped by the dad, and then that's where like the final, I guess, like action scene comes from. Um, Whoa, you saw that crap. Um, Yeah, but like the daughter like fights the dad off the girl, and it kills the dad as a result of it. But then I mean, the dad comes back and kills the love interest anyway. So, I mean, again, like you kind of had to choose something. Like they were trying to do everything that they could, like try to get like all the mileage they could out of this like concept. But I mean, again, like trying to do everything. What's the phrase? Master of none, right? Jack of all trades, master of none. Um, Yeah, so I guess like that's where like it really becomes muddied because I mean again everything else I really like all the blood effects really cool. The actual like concept is like really funny and I think there's a lot to do there. Um, all the characters serviceable or like likable, right? Um, Movie looks really good too. I'll give it that. Has lots of just like nice simple stuff. Um, but man, like another major plot hole too is who's who's filming. It's weird because I mean, again, like because I said that the dad slasher he like sells like all of his killings like at his own video store that he owns, but you never really know like who's recording them, and like the daughter's like watching basically everything that happened in the movie like at the very end, and it's like man like who was recording all this the whole time? It's it's a bit weird. But again, that's like something you could have probably easily fixed at some point, but I don't know. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about how you could have fixed that, but I mean, off the top of my head, I really don't know. Maybe just don't have it, like have her watching all the stuff at the very end. I guess, right? Like that's like the only slight fix you could do for it. Um, yeah, so that's like kind of a major plot hole. But I mean, other things. I mean, again, it's just like so muddied. I wish they could have just like tightened things up a little bit, right? Um, Another thing too, because I mentioned the like love interest, right? It's like a lesbian story, and you know, so kind of wish it was a woman as a director. I think she probably could have told that story a lot better. Uh, like a young love like that being written and directed by a guy. I don't know. I feel like there's a disconnect, which is why it doesn't really seem that strong to me. I don't know. Yeah, because I feel like that was lacking too, despite that being like a huge part of the movie. Um, but I don't know. I feel like there's some fun to be had, without a doubt, right? So I mean, like, despite kind of coming across as negative, I'd still sort of recommend it. It's good fun. Not that long. It really does move by really fast. Now that I'm thinking about it, it really does. But yeah, it just needs to be like adjusted here and there. And like I gave a few examples, but there's still like more that could be tweaked. But this is the kind of movie I like, right? Sorry, excuse me. And it's something I mentioned before, where like this is just one of those movies where like if you have people to talk with, it's a better experience just because you can say it's like, oh man, like like, I would have done this, I would have done that, or oh, they could have changed like this here and there. Maybe that didn't need to be there. Um, I feel like that's great. That's like a great thing to do. I mean, especially if you're interested in like film to begin with, right? Or just like movies in general. Like being able to like pick apart and especially with the movie you like to begin with, being able to like pick it apart still and you know, kind of look at how it could be improved. Um, it's just like a fun little like thought exercise, I guess. But I mean, still, despite it all, I'd recommend it. It's good fun. I enjoyed myself when I was watching it. Probably because I had a few drinks, maybe, but nah. The drinks help, but I mean, still, like the movie is like fun at its core. It's just like missing a few things for me. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I guess that's about it for October 20th, right? Take care.